What's up guys, Galapagos Jay here, and today I will be taking the Kosmic to the track for a shakedown. But before we do that, I'm going to have to do a couple more adjustments because some of the parts only arrived last night. So I'm going to be doing mostly the adjustments today, and hopefully we'll get everything ready within the hour because the track opens at 11. It's 8:52 now, so I need to load the car and also do all the adjustments within the hour. So let's get started. So this arrow is where I marked all the where I measure the holes for the usage, so that I know when I'm on the track, every time I measure the wear of the tire, I know exactly where to measure. So the next thing I need to deal with is the engine head gasket. So I need to check the clearance first. The 0.15 on the right hand side and 0.2 on the left hand side. Yep, that's correct. That's basically it. Okay. The good thing about tubes, soft tubes, is you can do that. Come out, no problem. Hey, there you go, boys. Looks pretty good. Okay, so everything looks okay. I'm gonna fit everything back in. Goes the exhaust first. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's 9:56. I managed to load everything, fix all the stuff that I needed to fix within the hour, and now I'm ready to hit the road and be on my way to the track. Let's hope it's going to be a good day. So now that I'm on the highway, I'm going to put it on cruise first, autopilot. So the track I'm going to is probably one of the best tracks locally. All the other racetracks that I've been to, they weren't really very regulated, so not professionally designed, not professionally vetted. FIA, CIK, they didn't follow any of the regulations, but this current one is probably one of the closer ones that it follows to the regulations. Let's hope my car doesn't screw up again. I've been having a pretty bad luck with my carts recently for some reason. Anyway, so yeah, let's do the rest at the track. Alright guys, I'm just warming up the car now. After a bit of a warm up, I'm going to set the car down and I'm going to start doing the tire pressure. Yep.
and then I'm going to check the fuel level. And I'm going to do a once over for all the nuts and bolts, and I should be ready to hit the track. Oh, fuck.
Okay, so the session that is about to begin is actually not the very first session of the day. Now, if you remember from the beginning of the video, I actually had a PWK 28 carburetor, and you might have seen that it was installed with a soft tube. The reason why we wanted to go with the soft tube was so that the carburetor would sort of veer off the tires, because we could not locate any decent intake tubes to do that with the PWK carburetor, because the carburetor doesn't have those fixation points. I forgot what they're called, but basically you cannot screw the carburetor onto the tube without an adapter. So we opted to go for the soft tubing, but then we found out very soon that it's not a good idea, because the track conditions are just way too bumpy. I ride on the curbs a lot, so yeah, it's not a good idea. So we just completely scrapped the soft tube idea. Now I'm back onto the hard intake tubing, and because of that, I have to switch to a different carburetor, a PZ27, and it's performing much more, at least more stable, but you could hear that the engine sounds a bit off by now, and at a later date we would actually find out that the engine was not really behaving properly due to very old valve springs. So the piston ended up punching into the valves at the end of this day. Although I was able to get a few more sessions after this but yeah, the engine just broke down, which I think you guys will be able to see very soon after. Alright guys, today was pretty, I'd say, successful, at least. Not very fulfilling, but okay, successful. So just to recap, I ran the car with the 28mm carburetor, but the problem is the intake pipe is silicon, so it was shaking a lot, so it was really affecting the fuel supply, and it was just cutting out, bogging all the way, like every time there's a bump or go on the curb or in the middle of a corner. So luckily I brought the other cart's 27mm carburetor, so right now I have it installed. This carburetor is much more stable because it doesn't shake. So yeah, on this track currently my time is 59 seconds, but it's a lot slower than I expected. So I think it's to do with the gear ratio, because the gear that I have right now is 72 to 16, so it's a 4.5 to 1 ratio. I'm going to increase the ratio to about 78. I'm going to come back 2 days later to test out the new gear ratio, because right now going out a corner it's really slow. It doesn't really have a lot of torque. So yeah, so all in all, the car is pretty okay. I mean, there's a couple of hiccups, little minor problems that I fixed quite quickly. It's not really a lot of problem, really. Yeah, I'm going to do a couple more sessions just to see if there are any more mechanical issues. But right now it's quite smooth. It's the longest I've stayed at the track so far with my own kart. So yeah, this kart is quite okay now. Yeah, anyway, so oh, and another problem is camera. My camera, the Insta360 kept screwing up. I don't know why, but it didn't record for like the major half of the day, and that was really annoying. So I got my GoPro Hero 4, a really old GoPro, but it's reliable. So I'm gonna record more sessions with that, and I'll post the footage. So here I'm about to start another session. Just to give you guys a sort of like a bit of a background, what I'm actually doing with my friend is actually developing a 4-stroke engine that is basically cheap enough to run, but fun enough for attracting a lot more drivers. So the mainstream engine right now for locally for 4-stroke engine competitions is actually the Briggs & Stratton 206, and that one only produces about like 8.8 horsepower. The current engine that I'm working on is supposed to be able to produce about, I don't know, 14 to 15 horsepower. But when I was testing the engine on this day, it did not produce that much horsepower at all, like nowhere near. So obviously there were a lot of problems, but the biggest problem was the springs being like very worn. So it's just not really helping with the closing and opening of the valves. Now I just got into the 58 for the lap time, but because of the valve problem, wrong gear ratio, and also I'm quite heavy. I'm about like 90 kilograms. So the track record for 4-stroke engine with the Briggs & Stratton, okay, is actually 54 seconds by a kid. So the kid is like, 40, 50 kilograms, very, very light. So this engine is, at least with my weight, I think it should be able to do like 56. Okay, but it was nowhere near that. So it was obviously something wrong. Okay, so at a later date, after a bunch of testing, because I'm recording this way after the fact, like 2-3 months after the fact. I've done a lot more testing after that. But anyway, we found a lot more problems. We solved a lot of problems. So the engine that we actually have right now is very, very close to what we were expecting it to be able to produce. But we are going to add more stuff to it, and it's going to be amazing, which I'm going to show you at a much later video. Alright guys, I'm done for today. I'm ready to get home. I'm going to pack up now, and I'll do like a conclusion later when I get home. Anyway, see you guys later.
5 minutes later.
Alright guys, so I'm now on the way back home. I'm on the highway now, so it's on autopilot. I can use the camera for a little bit. I did a bit of the end of day report. I'm going to do a bit more calculation when I get home. I need to work out the tire wear and also the total fuel consumption. I think I used up about 5 liters of fuel today, or 4.5, something like that. Either way, yeah, it was a pretty good day. Not a lot of problems. There was a problem with the rear left hub that I was a bit scared about, but it sort of, I think, resolved itself. So what happened was the nuts on the rear left hub came loose, and it was just like hanging halfway on the stubs on the hub, at the rear left hub. And the rear left hub, I felt like when I was driving, I felt the rear end was a bit loose. All of a sudden it came loose, so I went straight back to pit, and yeah, it was like loosened halfway, and then it was eating into the hub, not the hub, but it was eating into the rim of the wheel. So there was a lot of metal shaving, but I added some Loctite. I screwed in the nuts very tightly again, and I went over all of the nuts again once over, and after that it was completely resolved. So another thing that I found today was, I think the temperature is still too low, and the track is a very high-speed track. Mostly it was just like long straights, a lot of just long periods of acceleration, so it was very difficult to keep the tire warm. The tires were supposed to work best at 1.3 bar, and the supplier recommended that I do like a 1.1 bar to start off with, but I found that I would be able to get up to like 1.15 or 1.2, and then it would come back down very quickly at the straight. I mean, I didn't know how quick it cooled down until I got back to the pit, so as soon as I got back to the pit, I measured the air pressure, and it was really low. It never reached 1.3. So after that, for the last couple of sessions, I started off the pressure at 1.25, and when I got back to pit, it was 1.3. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just too cold, and the track is just too much acceleration and just too much cooling down. So yeah, anyway, I mean, the speed today, I think I was about to get into 57 seconds, but I think I was still a bit far off from it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back home, change the rear axle gear to 78. I had it on 72 today, and putting on 78 would help my acceleration off the corners a lot better. I'm not sure how it would do on the straightaway and all the accelerations, but I know I didn't use up all the RPM today. I was at like 6,500, and I'm pretty sure I can get the engine up to 7,500, so there was still a bit of headroom. So I'm going to use the 78 gear. I'm going to come back on Thursday. Today's Tuesday, so yeah, I think that's about it for now. I need to observe. I need to clean the car a bit to see what are the rest of the damage and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that will be another video. So anyway, so it was a pretty successful day today. It was a pretty good shakedown today. Unfortunately, the 28mm carburetor just did not work because of the soft intake pipe. So I had to revert back to the 27, which is not as powerful, and it was not a race carburetor anyway. So yeah, I'm thinking of getting a 28mm carburetor with the flange. So when I have the flange, I don't need the soft pipe anymore. I can just install straight onto the hard pipe. Hope that would work much better. Anyway, so that's it for now. That's it for this video, and I'm gonna update on the condition of the kart on the next one. It'll be a quick update. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you.